Hello, welcome to the channel The Dry Almas, the Three Grandmothers. I'm your host, Carmen. In the last video, we compared the methodology of translation of Alexandre Eleazar versus the official translation of Champollion. The knowledge advanced, science discovers new things every day, and the same we are doing here. There are other options, other way of translation. My goal is to give you tools in order you can learn a new way of translation and you can go around the world and discover that the story is not what we have been told. With Cuneiform, Eleazar left us a methodology of translation as well. In the video of today, we will analyze the tomb of Darius the Great in Iran. According to Wikipedia, the transcription identifies the ethnicity of 30 soldiers. And the translation follows as this is Persian, this is a Mede, this is a Elamita, this is an Assyrian. In the books of the Pious of the author Alexandre Eleazar, he proposed a different translation. The place is a tomb, therefore it's a funeral song. It is an elegy. Important to say is that cuneiform is not a language. It's a way of writing. So we have to keep in mind that modern language is an agglutinative language. The words and symbols stick together like plasticine. So the same structure of the agglutinative language need to be applied for these symbols as well. As we study the Phaistos disc, the symbols have been simplified. The original were ideograms, for example, fish, water, mountains, and they evolved to the symbols that we know nowadays. With the cuneiform has been simplified as well. The original cuneiform, they were ideograms that has been simplified. Which language use cuneiform way? We have the Sumerian, the Akkadian, and then they evolved to what is today Arabic, Hebrew, Hittite. Important to say is that we are speaking about different languages. The way of translation of cuneiform is not applicable to all languages. Most of the translation nowadays that we know with cuneiform, they come from the Akkadian, that is the more recently. Here are examples of the different symbols used for the cuneiform. For example, this is Akkadian, this is Elamita, and this is Old Persian. The methodology suggested by Alexandre Eleazar is applicable to what is the Old Persian. Here you can see the symbols are different. So please don't say that guy is wrong because the symbols are different. What we are using as cuneiform is that you can just print like this. And it's important to say in which places were cuneiform found. Mainly in the Middle East. Why is that? That is in this region. Well, because here is where two of our two grandmothers settled down. Let's remember that Maria died in Lebanon. That is why these regions women are subjugate. It's an attempt to suppress her entire legacy. A woman was the queen. A woman ruled the world. But they don't want to admit it. They keep erasing her memory. This land Middle East was the land of Maria, and that is why they try so hard to submit to subdue the women, because in the past men and women were equal when Maria was the queen, but they want to erase this history. There is a discussion about which language is the most older of the world, and the official Median history refers to the Sumerian. Well, that's not entirely correct. The cuneiform arrived with the white race. Before that, the other species arrived first. So it's like the first in time, it's first in law. So the symbols of Mayas in Latin America, Egyptian hieroglyphics, even old Chinese, they are older, much older than the Sumerians. Sorry, the pyramids are older one as the Uruk or the Ziguts of Sumeria. So let's begin. What is written in this funeral song, in this elegy, according to books of Alexandre Eleazar in Los Payos? In the description of the video, there is a link if you are interested in buying the books or the page about the research about this author. In my blog of the dryomas.blog, you will find manuals for cuneiform as well. You will find the main concepts of the methodology of translation proposed by the author and the decoding of the whole song as well. The symbols are stick together and they were like a chain in sequence, but I tried to break down as much as possible the meaning of the symbols. So the whole song you can read it in my blog. For example, here in these symbols, it's our life, our way of life that turns around. General Yuri, it was a name, threatened to hang him by force in his residence, satisfying his desire in abundance. Here is another text. For example, there is also life above or over the bright and distant space. You were hanging a whole day on the bridge. You will rest in the place of the bed. The formal habit of the supreme life, select and splendid, being called Eden. Lands far away, which exist on the steep slope of heaven. Above you live splendid. Beware of heaven, too. It's a funeral song. Here is a resume on how to translate the cuneiform, but applicable to the equivalent to Old Persian. Not Akkadian, not Limit, not Hittite, please. Don't confuse the symbols. The symbols represent consonants, and there is a concatenate chains with previous one. They stick together. And the important is the direction of reading. Let's remember that the direction of writing is direct together with the race. We are talking about a racial dispute, very, very old racial dispute. There are three main symbols that can have different consonants depending on the combination. Remember, always jackpot. In the manual, you can find that there are some symbols that you can add some suffix, and you can see how is divide the different symbols. So there are like the highlights how to translate, because we have only one text. So based on this text is that we are trying to break down the methodology that it was used for the author. And you will find a list of base consonants here. You can see that one symbol can be several consonants, for example, R, G, RT, or B. And the important is always combination of consonants and playing with the vowels. So thank you very much for this journey. At the beginning of this year was a challenge for me, but I'm enjoying this. And the history is not what we have been told. So the idea is to learn modern language in order you can read it by your own. Are the history books telling us the truth? I don't think so. So next year, more and more translation. Come with me to make this journey together. Thank you very much and see you next year. Bye bye.